Shannon Summers joining Mark Rogers TV to break down Ohio State football. You can join him on the Silver Bullets podcast. So I want to get this straight. Go to silverbulletspodcast.com and find his weekly podcast talking up Ohio State football for hardcore fans. So join Shannon right there. All right, much expected this season of the Buckeyes. Just about everybody had them in the college football playoff. Oklahoma, considering what happened last year, was a game that, despite Oklahoma's talent and ability on the sideline, people just chalked up as a win. It turned out the wrong way. I guess optimistic fans could point to 2014 and say, hey, Virginia Tech went 7-6. We recovered from that, got on a roll, and we know what happened. Pessimistic fans would say, hey, the passing offense hasn't been fixed since at least mid last season. And when is it going to get fixed? And even the defense that we thought was going to be great got chewed up by Baker Mayfield and company. Well, the tougher games are coming, so they should be in good shape for the next few weeks. Maryland could be difficult. And then it's, of course, Penn State as the marquee game, and even the likes of Iowa and Nebraska could be a little bit tricky. So, Shannon, dive into your crystal ball and let us know what you realistically think Ohio State can do.
Realistically, before the season, I looked at Ohio State as winning the Big Ten East. That has not changed. They had trouble against Oklahoma, and I did pick them to beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma came and brought it. I underestimated the Houdini acts of Baker Mayfield and stuff, but you have to give credit to him. He played an excellent game. Going forward, my biggest thing is I want to look and see constant improvement, constant growth in the passing game. Need to see the defensive backs starting to evolve and become what we're been accustomed to the last couple of years with having first-round picks coming out of the backfield. So we have 2 or 3 games before the Penn State game. So we have some time in order to, UNLV, the Rutgers, the Maryland. We have time in order to see how that secondary is going to be before Trace McSorley comes in. The defensive front seven has to be really extremely great because, you're going to have the Nittany Lions running back with Saquon Barkley, who's one of the top backs in the nation. So, that's going to be a big-time matchup right there. Plus, you have Ohio State, they're going to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder from getting beat last year, thinking that they should have won that game. And by all rights, they should have. But Penn State produced in the second half and Ohio State didn't, so Penn State won the game. And it wasn't a fluke. Penn State won that game. Then after that, they have to go over to the pink locker rooms of Iowa. Don't know what Iowa team you're going to get, but Iowa seems when they have the big-time opponents, they seem to bring up, step up their game. So that's going to be a dogfight. The big advantage for Ohio State in that is having that bye. Then you look at Michigan State. It's going to be coming into the shoe during that stretch before the Michigan game. I worry about Michigan State even no matter what their record is, because you look at, since Urban Meyer's come here, him and D'Antonio, the road team has won that game. That bothers me in a sense. Even last year, Ohio State only won by 7 points against D'Antonio. And then you have the big marquee matchup at, the Big House, the last game of the season. Michigan fans are saying the Big Ten's ours to win this year, and I'm picking Michigan to lose to Penn State and Ohio State. So I see them finishing on the third place, but I'm always wrong. So it's going to be another great games. It's going to be, this is what makes college football great. You really don't know what's going to happen, and there's still a lot of question marks this early in the season. So it's a fun ride. And it's too much to not enjoy.
Yeah, it's just the best product in sports on the field. You may disagree with, as I do, the college football playoff selection process. I don't fault the committee. I think they've got an impossible job to fit 5 conference champions into 4 spots. But that's the way it is. And I believe, not to correct you, Shannon, but thinking back on the Michigan State game, I believe that was a 1-point game. So if you remember correctly, Michigan State scored late. D'Antonio was just hit. The season was gone. So he went for 2. Ohio State stopped him, or that could have been a colossal disaster and upset right there from a 3-9 team at Michigan State. I think they're a little bit better this year. We will find out when they take on Notre Dame Saturday night, because they've won their first two games against, I believe, MAC opponents. And we'll see if Michigan State's I'm guessing they're not the 11-1 team that went to the playoff 2 years ago, and they're not the 3-9 team. They're probably going to go 7-5 or so. They've got a very difficult schedule to deal with. And like you say, those trips to Iowa, especially if that's a night game, the Hawkeyes, we know, have one of the best offensive lines in the Big Ten, have a front seven on defense. They've looked really good against what many consider to be the top NFL prospect at quarterback at Wyoming, and Josh Allen. They shut him down to 3 points. And so the Hawkeyes will come. They're not the most talented or dynamic team with wide receivers running all over the place, but when it comes to hard-nosed Big Ten football, they can get it done and pull off the upset as they did against Michigan at Iowa City last year. So it will be a fun ride. I was checking out the NFL and the Red Zone Network, Shannon, last night, and saw an Indianapolis Colt come out of nowhere and help out his cornerback and just fly out of nowhere and pick off a Carson Palmer pass, and lo and behold, it was Malik Hooker. So to your point about playing defensive back, the guys that they have in play right now, just as fast, just as athletic, just freak athletes, the best in the business in high school football, can jump out of the building, but you need to know how to read the quarterback, read the defense, not blow the coverage, play assignment football, and that takes discipline and reps. And they just don't have that out of a few of their defensive backs, but that will come in time. All right, Shannon, we appreciate the time. You can join Shannon Summers right at his podcast, silverbulletspodcast.com. Shannon, enjoyed the conversation about Buckeye football.
Definitely. Thanks for having me on.